Welcome to the C-Suite podcast with me, Graham Barrett. I'm here at the World Trade Center in Dubai for Seamless, an event that's been showcasing the future of fintechs and payments in the Middle East for the past 25 years. We're producing these episodes in partnership with BPC, a global payment solution provider that builds digital ecosystems which enable seamless payment experiences. I'll be sitting down with some of the speakers and attendees here on BPC's booth, and I really hope you enjoy these conversations. Pleased to say that now I've been joined by Amit Malhotra, who is Global Head of Retail Banking at Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank.
Hi, Graham. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. Now, you've just come from a session around reshaping global payments, haven't you? Sounds interesting. What single innovation or two innovations do you think will have the biggest impact in this field over the next few years?
Graham, that's a difficult question, right? There's so much happening, and I think the disruption in the payment space is enormous, right? So it's very difficult to point out one or two things, but I think there are 5 or 6 key themes which are emerging, right, and which would completely change or are already changing, the landscape of payment. I think the first one definitely, and what people call BNPL, buy now, pay later. I actually call it CNPL. It's consume now and pay later, because it's no longer about just buying now and paying later. It is how you remit your money, remit now and pay later. It is how you rent your property, rent now and pay later. So I think that's definitely one phenomena which has completely changed the way the payments are being made in that space. And there I think the next part of the journey is that the BNPL will now go beyond just the fintech players, the BNPL players, and we'll see a big convergence of partnerships between banks and BNPL players. So I think that's going to be one big theme for me. I think the whole thing around invisible payments, which is payments outside the financial institutions, payments actually being made in non-financial institutions, right? I think that's going to be a big one for me, big one for me. Because today, if you look at it, and especially in many markets, almost 60 to 70% of the payments actually are being done outside the financial institution, right? And it is happening at the time you're consuming your services. It is happening at part of broader ecosystem that you partner with. So I think that's the second one for me. I think the third big phenomena is this entire real-time payments, which we've already seen in some markets. We saw what happened in Australia. We've seen what UPI has done in India. I mean, UPI is just an 8-year, 9-year-old phenomena. But today, almost 80% of the total payments in India actually happen out of UPI. And we're seeing something similar happening in our market as well. So I think for me, real-time payments, that would be another big one. And then, of course, this whole thing about digital currencies, the CBDCs, the government-backed digital currencies linked to pay on blockchain. I think that would be another huge disruption coming away, especially when we look at cross-border payments, especially when you look at financial inclusions, peer-to-peer payments. So, I think not a single one, but definitely there's some large 4 or 5 themes to watch on.
Absolutely. What about the future of card acceptance as well? How do you think banks need to evolve in that space? I'm thinking of things like, account to account, QR codes, pay by link. Which of those do you see taking hold?
I think this is a very interesting one, right? Because ultimately, cards, been the traditional king of payments, as we call, right? And especially, I think also a lot of us perceive cards to be that plastic, which used to sit in your wallet or sit in your hand. But when we now talk about it, I think that's just going to be one of the ways the payment is going to be made, right? And that also, I think, is going to be less plastic and more invisible, card payments would happen for sure, especially when you talk about your cards in your stored value wallets, or when you look at cards, in terms of cards and files capability. So I think there's going to be some form of payments as well. But you're right. I think we're going to see a huge shift beyond cards and account-to-account payments or pay by banks. That's going to have definitely a bigger play. Or for that matter, I think especially with the convergence of open banking and open finance, right? I think definitely the pay by bank would be a huge one. I think in terms of remittance space, the account-to-account transfer, especially leveraging on real-time payment infrastructure, which most of the countries are working on, that's going to be a big one. I think pay by blockchain. Yeah, so in short, I think the world's going to move away from cards. I'm not sure whether cards are going to completely disappear. I think the plastic would, and in many ways, plastic has disappeared, right? But I think the underlying stored value, whether it sits in a wallet, whether it sits in an ecosystem, that would still have some play.
We're seeing more banks adopt SaaS and low-code, no-code platforms. What are your thoughts on these kind of areas?
I think that's a very logical way of actually managing, being innovative, managing being disruptive, while tackling with the legacy system issues, right? So I think it's a smart way of actually using new technology, especially partnering with tech firms which give you SaaS-based solutions or which give you completely low-code or a no-code kind of solution. So I think the way I definitely look at it is that this is a smart way of trying to do things while you're managing your legacy systems, and obviously you can't change your legacy system overnight, right? And also gives you an opportunity to actually then find the right partner which gets you the right capability in terms of speed to market, in terms of cost to market, and being out there for the customers.
And just to finish with another future-looking question, we're asking you to look into your crystal ball a lot today. So for First Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, what does the future hold in the near term, in the next 12 to 18 months?
So I think in our bank, Abu Dhabi Islamic Bank, it's a very apt question. We recently launched what we call our Vision 2035, and basically what next 10 years we're going to do for the bank starting now, and it's got different pillars to it that we're working on. But just to talk about few themes, one, we launched Adib Ventures, which is our fintech partnership arm, which is where we're identifying right partners, fintechs, paytechs, smart techs, which actually can work with us to enhance our capabilities to serve our customers better. So that's one theme. I think there's a lot of work that we're doing on APIization of our product and services, and especially being ready for open banking, open finance as it gets out there. I spoke about Pay by Bank. So I think that's another big thing which definitely we should see on the table over the next 12 to 18 months. And then our entire AIification of our products and services. AIification is a huge theme for us in the bank. We're on the canvas right now to see what are the different areas that we work on, what are some of the smart use cases which really create the high impact. So that's the other one. And then we also have a lot of work that we're working on the digital currency space, especially in our country's context, where we have such a forward-looking regulator that how are we ready with the right use cases when the CBDCs come to life, or how do we actually leverage on this entire paper blockchain. So I think these are 4 or 5 broad themes that we're working on. And then of course we regularly keep coming out with new product and services. We recently launched, which is I think definitely region's worst, if not world's first, fractional sukuk platform, where we're actually enabling our customers to buy sukuks, which are bonds. The market requirement is there's a minimum denomination of $200,000, but we've enabled it, we fractionalized this, and we've enabled it for $1,000 denomination, where the customers can buy and sell digitally anytime. So that's just an example. But I think the other thing that you're going to see over the next 12 to 18 months is a whole lot of these new product and capabilities which would be out there for the customers.
Lots of new products, exciting times. Amit, Malhotra, thank you for joining me on the podcast today.
Grand pleasure to be here this afternoon. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I've now been joined by Radu Topliceanu, who is EVP, Head of Neo and Personal Banking at Mashreq. Radu, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for joining us on the podcast here at Seamless. Now, talk to me about Mashreq. It's one of the oldest banking institutions, isn't it, in the Middle East. What does the bank look like today?
Well, if I think about Mashreq, it has the best of both worlds. We have the DNA of a bank with all the focus on compliance, regulation, following everything to the dot. But on the other hand, we are very much like a fintech, like an innovator, in the way that we are acting each and every day. It's important to mention that Mashreq is a digital-first human bank. We are using technology in order to improve the engagement with the customer and the interaction with the customer, but all the time using empathy and the human to design all the journeys and the whole interaction. So human is very important, but we are using technology for customer interaction. We are a bank which goes today beyond being just a bank. We are evolving in the space of banking as a service, for example. We are very active in the open banking, which is coming to the Emirates. So we are developing and innovating quite a lot.
Mm-hmm. Now, technology and innovation is what brings you to Seamless, because you're speaking on a session, aren't you, about Gen AI adoption in banking. Where do you think it brings the most value right now?
I think the most used case as of today, it's the chatbot, the interface between the bank and the customer. And the beauty of the Gen AI is that it's allowing a personalized interaction with each and every customer. The second part, which is maybe not very visible, but it's very powerful, is reduction in cost. And I'll give you a very domestic example. We are using Copilot in all our activities. So if I'm writing an email, I'm using Gen AI to give me a draft. It's a very minute, a very domestic case, but it shows how powerful it is. And of course, you are also using it in fraud detection, understanding where to focus, and in personalizing the interaction using data insights and personalizing also the message, the content, the tone of voice and everything when we are communicating to our customers.
And how do you see Gen AI shaping personalized experiences at scale, especially at digital first banks like Neo?
I think it's a shift in the way that the customers and the banks are interacting. If you are looking in the past, even today, a lot of the bank activity, it's reactive. The customer asks for something and we are providing an answer. Now, using, first of all the wealth of data that you are having, then all the machine learning models that we are building, and using the Gen AI to communicate to the customer, we can identify a trend, we can identify a need of the customer, and go and personalize the interaction to the customer. I think that's the next generation in terms of engagement. And this is very important, especially as it allows you to have all the time a learning loop. You have the customer reaction, you take the feedback, you are improving your journey, you are interacting again and again and again, and this is the way to the progress.
Now, of course, Gen AI is a big part of your strategy at Mashreq, but what three technologies do you think banks should prioritize now to meet the expectation of today's consumer?
I think one I already mentioned is this hyper-personalization of the engagement with the customer. The second one is the embedded finance and the open banking. Mashreq has a very good example, the collaboration we are having with Ian in Egypt, where we put our financial offer in the mobile app. And the third very important technology would be the blockchain and the whole range of opportunities which is opening, including the cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, you see that as a big part of the future at Mashreq.
Yeah, it's a big part of the future of each and every bank, especially in this region, because I think the regulator here is very much focused on innovation or bringing new things. Digital dirham, it's a very it will be a reality very soon. There was already a proof of concept which was pretty successful. There are already cross-border transactions done with digital currency. So I think it's really exciting for the future.
Yeah, and talking about the future, what initiatives do you think will headline Neo's strategy over the next 18 months? And what does success look like for you?
Yeah, I'll start with the second one.
Yeah.
Success, I'm measuring by 3 dimensions.
Okay.
One, it's customer satisfaction. Of course, there are multiple ways to measure the customer satisfaction, but I consider myself successful, my team, our organization being successful as long as the customer satisfaction grows, it moves up. And until now, this is happening. The second, because we are a bank, is the financials. I want to grow, but I want to grow profitable. As I said in the beginning, we are at the intersection of a bank and a fintech, and we need to take the solid profitability of a bank and combine it with the growth of a fintech. And the third one, which is very important, are the employee satisfaction and the culture of the organization, because we are very agile in the way that we are working. For me, it's important that our employees are feeling a drive. They are aware of our mission, and they are internalizing this mission. Is becoming theirs. And now coming to the first part of your question. First and foremost, we are in the middle of a geographical expansion. As of today, Neo is present in UAE, it's present in Egypt, and is going to be present very soon in Pakistan, where we have a digital banking license. So it's very important that we are scaling these markets in a profitable and in a very fast way. The second thing would be the hyper-personalization that I mentioned before, to transforming it into reality.
Well, good luck with that hyper-personalization. Good luck with the expansion. Radu, Topliceanu, thanks so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
I'm joined now by Mahmoud Hamouda, who is Head of Strategic Initiatives at Banque Misr. Mahmoud, how are you today?
I am good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. Thanks for joining us. Now, let's start with an introduction to Banque Misr and your role in the organisation, because you like to be known as the chief astronaut. Is that correct?
Yes. So let me give you a little background. Thank you for having me first.
Yeah.
But I spent all my life in tech. And when I moved to banking, it was a shock to everyone in my community, right? And the only way I could explain it is by saying I'm a chief astronaut, because I think the financial services are transforming. It's like a journey to Mars, and having a strategy that's well executed will help them on that journey. And it's all about tech. Everyone now is becoming a tech company that happens to be in a specific sector, right?
Now, you're speaking at Seamless, aren't you, on the Gen AI panel. What do you see as the main use cases for AI in the banking sector?
There are so many.
I'm
cool,
sure.
Yeah, very cool, exciting use cases. Most of them right now are about helping our team, productivity gains, working faster, creating memos faster. But we're seeing a lot of great use cases for the end users as well. I don't want to say chatbots, but it is that user interaction. Yeah. No, because it's not. It evolved beyond that now, right?
I think when you say chatbot, you think of 10, 20 years ago, don't you? Things have moved on a lot.
Yeah, and people have very bad experiences there, right? But with Gen AI, it completely transforms that customer interaction. So most of the exciting stuff is, just providing the service anytime, anywhere using, chatbots or agents. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. But how can you do this at scale, I guess, is the question. I'm sure lots of banks have been experimenting with AI. How do you really develop personalized experiences at scale?
Yeah, well, it's all about that data, of course. And we started that a long time ago, right? Any financial institution or a bank that is already well in their transformation journey has already started, digitizing the processes and producing some data. Data is the fuel of all of this, right? Without data, nothing works. So data.
That's okay, I like that. You're quite busy here at Seamless, aren't you? Because you're also speaking on another session about platformization.
Yep.
So tell me what that kind of term means to you, and particularly, obviously, with your role at Banque Misr.
Yeah, sure. So this is one of the really cool, exciting stuff. I know Gen AI is cool, right? But everyone's talking about Gen AI. But I think what's happening in banking now is that we're realizing that it's not only about financial services. We need to be able to understand the customer needs and meet them where they are, right? Tech and Gen AI would help us there, but we need to start providing extra services, not just financial, to help you with your lifestyle, choices and everything. Sorry, which has an implication on your wealth and financial well-being, right? And the only way that banks can do that is through partnerships, and we can only build the partnerships on platforms. So this is how we're looking at platforms and building ecosystems around the financial services that we offer.
Can you give me some kind of practical examples of how those partnerships might look, how people can interact with the bank on those different platforms?
Yeah, of course, I can. Yeah, I can give you like my dream North Star journey. And it mixes Gen AI with the platformization. Imagine the bank's app of the future is just a chat interface that you're a busy man, right? You have so many appointments on your calendar. Just tell it, look at my calendar, fix my day, tell me when to have lunch, how to have it, order lunch for me, and all of this stuff, right? But that's the bank's app, right? And the reason that it is the bank's app, because we can then go look at your history, transaction history, understand where do you like to eat, where do you like to go out, and then that proposal that comes back is more tailored to your lifestyle, right? Not just that, with the rise of AI agents, right? We can even execute it for you, right? So just say, okay, book me the Uber. I want to order food at that time from Talabat or whatever, right? And we would just fix that right away and do all the bookings for you, right? And on the other hand, let's say you want, make a bigger decision. You want to buy a car, right? You want to buy a Ferrari. You look like a very cool guy. You want to buy a Ferrari, right? You come to the app and say, listen, I want to buy a Ferrari. Then we can come back to you and tell you, listen, it's great, very ambitious. We think in 10 years you can do that.
Yeah. Oh, don't tell me it's not for me, please. Come on.
No. It is. No, but based on your financial status, we can give you recommendations on, if you want now, you're gonna take out a loan. You're gonna pay it on so many years. With your spending today, so mixing lending and payments, with your spending today, you can afford that. So, but if you don't want to take a loan, maybe you can, create a saving plan, and then in 5 years you can buy the car in all cash. This kind of experience is what we're talking about, and that requires a lot of partnerships underneath that application to make it work, right? You need, in the first example, you need to integrate with Talabat, mobility, food and beverages, what have you, right? And in the other example, you need to integrate with insurance, car insurance, car service providers, sales, and all of that, right?
So it's building that whole ecosystem, isn't it, really?
Exactly.
But I guess banks are in a brilliant position, aren't they? Because you probably have more data on us than anyone.
Exactly.
Because obviously you can see exactly what I spend on a day-to-day basis.
We can see everything, right? And that's why we want to take that data, use it to enable you to make better lifestyle choices. But that's one example, right? There are so many other examples, even in wholesale, like in the corporate world, around building platforms that gives you as an institution the same support, similar to what we're talking about here.
Excellent. Is that going to be your main focus over the next 12 to 18 months, or do you have other strategic initiatives you're looking at?
Yeah, sure. No, the bank is transforming. We're one of the oldest banks in Egypt. And there is so many things happening, right? This is exciting for me because I come from outside banking, but in banking as well, we're one of the biggest financial service providers. We're a big holding company, and we're looking to expand across all types of financial services. So we have some gaps to fill in our product portfolio as well, and of course data and AI, right? With the things that with the rate things are going on today, we need to build our own. So we're trying to build that full stack that will support us build all the cool use cases in the future. Right?
Thanks so much for those fascinating insights. Mahmoud, Hamouda, Chief Astronaut, thank you for joining me on the podcast today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that.
Okay, I'm pleased to say that I've now been joined by Sameh, Khairy, who is Head of Cash Management Digital Solutions at Credit Agricole Egypt. Sameh, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. And I'm happy to be with you today.
Excellent stuff. Now, you just spoke on a panel. You've literally just come off stage about real-time payments. So how do you see that actually playing out in the real world for businesses, for consumers in Egypt?
Okay, yes, it's the game it's changed, and real-time transaction has become a lifestyle and become very demanding for both corporate and retail. So for retail or consumer, it's expected instant transfer, sending salaries or receiving salary in instance, or send money to their family in instant. The same for businesses or corporate. It improves the process for doing transaction for their supplier and the instant cash flow. Real-time transaction has become mandatory, and it's impacted on or reducing relies on cash. So I think this is main target or main pillar for the Egyptian economy or across the world even, to reduce the cash.
What kind of technologies underpin these transactions? How do you propel this forward, make sure it works quickly, but make sure it's secure as well?
Actually, the technology has some sort of security should be done, like biometrics and OTP to get it flows. This is for retail, and for corporate might have some sort of more security level. But at the end of the day, individual or consumer or corporate should have an secure channel to do their payment and for day-to-day payment.
And how do you see real-time payments developing and unlocking new levels of kind of personalization? How can we have this kind of hyper-personalized experience within payments?
Actually, for payments, it's become as I'm said that it's become it shifted from consumer to the corporate as well. They are looking for having an instant payment for the corporate. So most of banks in the Egyptian market is integrated with an instant payment to have an instant for corporates. The same happen in retail. This has impacted also the number of fintech appear in Egyptian market has become huge. We have many fintech doing for e-commerce and for handling the payment scheme. We have many names in Egyptian market.
So I guess, what more can happen on that payments kind of perspective? How do you how do you make that payment more interesting? Should it be interesting, or are consumers just looking for it as quickly and as seamlessly as possible, or do you have to make that interesting in some way?
Yes, actually, it's become lifestyle. It's become lifestyle for day to day. If you would like to buy anything now, you are looking for an instant payment using your card or your mobile or any type of real-time transaction. This is a target now for individual and for corporate.
Now we're here at Seamless, which is all about the future of payments. So let's gaze into our crystal ball and talk about the future of real-time payments. What kind of trends do you see happening?
I think one more important one is focusing now is instant payment for corporate. Second one is maybe virtual account for payment and the reconciliation as well. This is the common trend in the coming few years in the Egyptian market specifically.
And do you have any particular priorities over the next 12 to 18 months in your role?
Actually, yes. We have a quite a pipeline in instant payment and for virtual account as well, and do some changes in e-commerce. We're doing partnership with the e-commerce and to have a sort of product suite which match nature of many businesses.
Sameh, Khairy, thank you so much for taking me through that. Thank you for joining me straight after your panel, hope to see you again.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I'm here now with Ramy Refaat, who is the IT Digital Transformation Manager at National Bank of Egypt. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, you are speaking on a session, aren't you, about innovational financial models for SMEs. How are digital and open banking models helping to reshape that landscape?
For SME, it is having a different mentality, because he needing to it's have mentality of retail, and he needs a feature of corporate, and that's making it is difficult for banks to how to serve them. So we are trying to making digitalize the services for them and make it paperless for them, and that's making us to allowing them to open accounts, manage its loan, money flow tools. We are trying to provide them a lot of services. As well, for open banking, we are trying to making an integration with a lot of fintech and third party, and that is making allowance for SMEs to sell their products. It's very faster and it's very easier. So we are do our best in this field.
Sounds good. Now, I read about your partnership with MasterCard, which was fascinating, your AI-powered digital employees. So I'd love to hear a bit more about that, and maybe how such innovations are really enhancing your customer centricity.
This robot we have launched in the latest Cairo ICT event. This robot, it is the first, and I think from my opinion, it is a big step in digital transformation for the banking sector, because that is allow about the AI interactive with the customer. It's not about or look like IVR comments to how to check that or making that. Amina robot, it is answer a lot of inquiries for the customer, As well, if it's no, didn't know the answer, it guides the customers from where he can catching their services. As well, it's allowing to making better life of services of banking. As well, we are moving on to enhance it and upgrade it.
What's been the customer feedback to this innovation?
It is awesome feedback because we are also choosing Amina name. It is something local name, so it is to be familiar for, with the customer.
Okay, and what technologies do you believe are essential for banks nowadays to I guess, meet the demands of always-on, mobile-first customers?
It is in the next years. It is something. It is very important now. It is AI and machine learning. That's something needing to be used mostly and more than we are using now. As well, cloud computing, as well, biometric security. Also for mobile application, we have to focus on about enhancing the customer experience for UI and UX, especially for in this field, to be make the application it's more familiar with a lot of segment. As you know, it is currently now we have a big segment. It's Gen Z, so we are trying to make the application it is more familiar with Gen Z and other customers as well.
Okay, absolutely, yeah. Now, you're a busy man here at Seamless, aren't you? Because you're also speaking on another session around RegTech. So how is the National Bank of Egypt approaching the you mentioned some of it there, but the integration of AI and machine learning in that field?
We are trying in this session to focus on how the RegTech it is allowing the compliance to having low risk. We cannot mitigate the risk 100%. So we are trying to making the compliance and risk departments. They are focusing on the review about or spotting in the risk from itself, not monitoring all the transactions, because it is very difficult to any human, and it's making us making a human fault. So we are trying to using AI and Gen AI to spotting or get alert for the compliance for only the risk transaction. And the human, we cannot keep the human. The human he can from himself to review the technology, what it is do and review the workflow. As well, till now we cannot in AI to handle the special cases and the exceptional and complex decision. As well, that is will be done by human. He will taking something all the time, and all banks and fintech we having an special cases and complex decision. So that will be taken by the human.
Okay, brilliant. And looking ahead then, just we'd like to finish off with a question where we look into the future and hear about what's happening next at National Bank of Egypt. What initiatives do you think will spearhead your strategy over the next 12 to 18 months?
Our main strategy, I think we are trying to do our best to enhance the user experience, especially in UI UX. As well, we are working in tokenization. In the last year, we have launched Apple Pay and improving this tokenization project. As well, we are trying to enhance the customer onboarding, because it's something trend now. Because customer onboarding, it is having a lot of steps and a lot of workflow, like KYC and something else. So we are trying to enhance it to make the services it is more digitalized.
Yeah, it's clearly a very customer-centric approach, isn't it? Everything that you seem to be doing, everything you've told me today is all about enhancing that customer experience.
Yeah. It is something pinpoint in Middle East.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's brilliant. So, good luck with your sessions here at Seamless. Ramy, Refaat, thanks so much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm joined now by Joseph Cleetus. He is Vice President of Business Transformation at LuLu Financial Holdings. Joseph, how are you today?
I'm very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for joining us on the podcast. So let's start maybe with an introduction to LuLu Financial Holdings. Tell me what the business is all about.
The LuLu Financial Holdings started operations in the year 2009, a humble beginning in UAE, in Abu Dhabi. Since then, we are spread across 10 countries. We are licensed by the respective central banks. We are present in all the GCC countries, except for Saudi Arabia for now. We are present in APAC, in Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Philippines. And in India, we are present in two formats. We have the cross-border payments, we have the Forex, and then we are also into the lending space. And in the GCC, we are the largest in terms of the cross-border payment space. And we also have the wage protection system, the salary processing, the multi-currency, foreign currency cards, and everything out here.
Excellent. Well, let's keep on that theme of cross-border payments. And can you tell me more about Digit 9 and the problems in cross-border payments you're trying to solve?
Absolutely. When we reached a scale, and then we started enabling fintechs onto this cross-border rails, right? So 2 years ago, when the largest fintech here, Khairy, when they approached us, and we started collaborating, and we created a product called Remittance as a Service, RAS, and the likes of Khairy was followed by Paysend, Tabby, and other players into the market. All the such fintechs wanted to enable cross-border payments to their customers. When that started, suddenly we saw the scale increasing. The volume started doubling and other things. And then we found that with new partners, new customer geographies, actually, we found we have to enable new partnerships on the other side for the last mile, right? So we have to integrate with multiple MTOs, which means the IT has to spend 3 to 6 months every time, right? For every project, it's longer. So we calculated the time. If I want to connect with 6 partners, average of 3 months, it is 1.5 years, right? Just gone, right?
It's just not possible, is it?
It's not possible. And then you have other banks, other rails coming up. You have stable coins, payouts. You have push to card. You have wallets. And then we suddenly looked at it and said, like, guys, this is only our problem, or is it an industry problem, right? And when we started speaking, we understood, like, yeah, this is a common problem with everybody. Now, even if a money transfer operator is ready to connect, is the partner on the other side, they are also having the same problem. They are also busy with other things. If you look at the human capital is being used, but everyone is duplicating the work. And there is no innovation. Personally, for me, I've been in the remittance industry for like 22 years. Right? And in 22 years, I'm tired. I'm doing the same thing. Only thing is, like, I'm talking to a different partner. We have an API. It is almost same. And you duplicate it. By the time new regulations come, changes, it is kind of getting bored, right? So the second major problem, what we found is, like, the liquidity. Right? As you scale, it is very easy to get into this liquidity black hole, right? And, all the remittance works on a pre-funded model. You have to have the liquidity on the other side before you can enable the customer. For example, like, we have around, close to $35 million pre-funding every day, single day, on the other side in various geographies. And you can't go wrong. The third part is, like, the fragmented rails of payments, right? Suddenly you get a new, you open up a new opportunity of push to cards, right? Customers want on the cards, and one side you see, I want to, my partner says, like, I want to offer on the, give me stable coins for settlement. So this all, you put in all these things, and then you have the regulatory and compliance issue. So we thought, why don't we create a platform, right? And start off Digit 9 and create a business model around our problem. We clubbed in all these things, and that's how we incorporated our entity in Singapore. We licensed an entity, and then we created this platform there. But when we saw that, and we saw, like, we thought the problem is only for people like us who are originating the customers, who are the ones who are touch basing with the customers. But we found that these are the problems even with large money transfer operators. So our first major customers to go was the largest fintech in the whole world, right? So they started using us, and we saw this, and we are scaling Digit 9.
It's a great example. Obviously, the problems you're solving in cross-border payments are amazing, but it's a great illustration of problem solving, isn't it? You know, you think of a problem, it's just for yourselves, and then it's suddenly magnified to a much wider scale. So really interesting to hear that. Which technologies do you think could further help with cross-border payments, and how do you feel you can push Digit 9 on even further?
Yeah. So if you mention 2-3 years ago, if anybody speaks blockchain, and then actually people start laughing, right? Now, because it's like everybody walks in and talks about the blockchain. Even if you talk about a e-commerce or a restaurant delivery, food delivery, somebody start talking blockchain. That was the area. But we took it very different. We started using it for the right purpose. So what we have experienced is like when it comes to especially on the liquidity part, right? This business is all about having liquidity at the right place at the right time, right? That means it is based on trust and a lot of credit, right? And to avoid a credit risk, the partners in the ecosystem need to see where is this transactions flowing, where is this money utilized for. So blockchain is an amazing platform of the technology where actually all the partners in the ecosystem get to see the visibility. Second thing is on the KYC, right? So I believe that blockchain used in the right way, on a cost-effective way, it works. The second thing is on the tokenization, the network effect of tokenization, right? So what we do is a player like us have partners across the globe, right? They have equal send and receive, and we become the central layer for partnership for all this orchestration. And there is a huge opportunity for set-off. And then there is where actually a native stable coin, native token on the platform can help, right? This helps in efficiency and also actually help in reducing the cost of the fund movement.
And I guess just finally, I mean, obviously all of that is going to keep you very busy by the sounds of it, but what do you see as the main priorities for Digit 9, for LuLu Financial Holdings in general over the next year, 18 months?
Seeing this, like the next evolution for Digit 9 was like we just finished the incorporation of Digit 9 in Delaware, right? So Digit 9 is becoming a cross-border payment orchestration platform. We have now connected all the money transfer operators across the globe, talk about all the major ones to the localized ones. We connected them, and we launched our World API in the last Dubai Fintech Summit last week, and which allows any fintech, most of the fintechs, to just connect back to one API called World API and get access to the whole global network, right? And this, if we look at like 2 years ago, this was an impossible thing. The reason is you have different APIs, no standard specification across cross-border payments. But now what we have done is this orchestration layer allows the financial institution who's connecting to Digit 9 to bring in their algorithm. So we created the platform. They can put in the algorithm for smart routing, liquidity provision, everything. So the Digit 9 also evolved from a platform. We evolved as an ecosystem. So now we invited liquidity providers, third-party liquidity providers, to come in and plug into a platform, look at our customers who are financial institutions, look at what the transactions are doing, give credit to them, right? And then we invited compliance system providers and said, you provide, look at what they're doing, you can give solutions to them. We bring in IBAN validators, say, you want to have a validation service, bring it. So we now becoming like an ecosystem saying, bring in all the partners together, we become the layer, plug in into each other, discover each other and work.
Sounds perfect. I mean, I love that. You know, started off as a platform, now it's an ecosystem, and it'll be great to hear what happens next. So Joseph, Cleetus, thank you very much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Really hope you've enjoyed these conversations from BPC's booth here at Seamless in Dubai. If you have enjoyed this episode, please do give us a positive rating and review on your podcast app of choice. And if you want to get in touch with the show, you can do that via the contact form at csuitepodcast.com. Alternatively, you can find me, Graham Barrett, on LinkedIn. But for now, thank you for listening and goodbye.